Hi, I'm Rocky Coyle. I was a professional baseball player, was called into the ministry. I was a youth pastor for 25 years. Debbie and I were just about in our 50s, empty nesters. Debbie was really looking for what to do with her life. And she came to me and said, "What would you think about adoption?" My daughter said, "Have you ever thought about India?" I was like, "Do you want me to go to India?" There was a special needs child there that had been burned and left to die on the side of the road, and her name was Swati Leah. I had fear in my heart to go to another country to go get this little kid. And the Lord started working in my heart. I put her picture in my truck, and I literally pulled over on the side of the road, and I flipped down the visor, and I saw her face. I go, "Lord, if she needs a dad, I'll be her dad." We get to this orphanage, there's 145 children, no air conditioning, it's hot, they're sleeping on the floors. I walk in there, and I used to think I really knew God. When Leah walked around the corner, and she kind of had her head down, and she looked up at me. And, I heard the Lord say, "This is my kingdom. This is what I'm about. And, oh, by the way, Rocky, that was you before you knew me. You were scarred, you were broken, and you had no hope." Here I wasn't, far away from home and everything, and yet that's where God's heart was. And I knew it was for the least. So then we went and got Savita in Delhi. Her mom told her to sit down in the middle of Delhi. She never came back to get her. And Savita said, "I looked for my mommy for 2 days, and I couldn't find her." I can't imagine a 4-year-old, in Delhi looking for their mommy. My daughter-in-law said, "What about China?" So I saw this little girl on the internet, and she was dancing with these older girls, and she was so feisty, had some handicaps. I said, "Debbie, I think this is our next one." They found Chi-Chi wrapped in a blanket in a box on the side of the road. And, Abigail, they found her in a box at the train station, wrapped in a towel. And they brought them in together, so they had been sleeping in the same bed their whole lives. And so I said, "She needs to come home too with us, We got home, raised the money again, and went back and got Abigail. But when we got back from that trip, we were at the breakfast table, and they're talking in Chinese, and then Chi-Chi goes, "On Wen," which is Allison. She used to defend us from older children, and she would hide her food and feed us at night when we didn't have enough food. "Lord, do you want me to go get this little girl? We're so tired, the thought of to do that again." And Debbie and I had already gotten rid of all our papers, 4 kids. Everybody thought we were crazy anyway. But all of a sudden, there was this peace, and I don't know how to explain it, but it came over me like him saying, "It's going to be okay. Just obey me. I'll take care of it." At the same time, Debbie goes, "I think we have to go get her." And I said, "Yeah." Some days I'm walking around the house thinking, where'd all these girls come from, Chi-Chi was found with her umbilical cord still attached, and so she was in an orphanage her whole life. She was abused in every way that you can imagine.
I was angry with God because the abuse I've been through, I still remember the stuff that happened to me, and I was blaming God for everything.
Debbie and I together were praying for her salvation. And I remember her coming to us and saying, "If I don't accept Jesus, will you still love me?" But Debbie and I both said, "We love you, whether you ever give your heart to Jesus or not."
I told my parents, when I grow up, I want to do nothing with Jesus.
Hours and hours Debbie and I would spend with her talking. And she would always come at it, try to freak you out, she'd start cussing. "I hate God. Blankety blank." "We still love you. Still love you." One day she just came up to me and she said, "Hey, Dad, I want to go to work with you on Fridays." I teach hitting lessons, and then she would drive with me, and I'd always take her to dinner. So on Fridays we had this date night, and over time we started developing a relationship. It was a turning point. One day I was going to work, and Chi-Chi said, "I want to pray to ask Jesus in my heart." So she did. out of nowhere, you know. When I went out to my vehicle, I literally fell on my knees in the grass. And thank God.
I made a lot of mistakes in my life. My dad, he still pursued me, and every day he would look into my eyes and say, "I love you." And that's why I want to follow Jesus, because that's what Jesus does.
The Lord said, I wanted you to be a dad to these girls. I want you to love them like I loved you. It was all the Lord. Debbie and I we raised our kids, we were antiquing, we were having fun. It was all Jesus. And I've seen miracle in these girls. Each of them have their own story, how God delivered them, and they all know Jesus now. You know, that's the cool thing, is that all these girls will be with me in heaven. Just this year, I was able to drop Savita off at Liberty University and saw her walk up the steps to go to college. Leah, you guys see her greeting you. She has a heart for missions. Chi-Chi's still searching. You see her working at the coffee bar. You know, she's taking a few classes in Alamance. So, you know, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds it. And I've learned that I'm going to go where he sends me.